Bartolomeo Malen, welcome to this very important session of the Jubilee World Congress, Jubilee World Roma Congress. Today we talk about the future of our memorial of the murdered Sinti and Roma of Europe. We are in Romanistan, a virtual space, and a utopia inspired by the president of the first World Roma Congress, Slobodan Berberski, who said, "Every place there are Roma, there is Romanistan." We are live on Facebook and on YouTube, and we welcome also the participants who are directly with us in Zoom. Please feel free to comment in chat and raise your hand in order to be allowed to speak as well. And to everyone who is waiting on Facebook and YouTube, feel free to still register to the Zoom so you can join the session as well. You can find the registration link in the comments now. And we are also very happy to have Noah Caravan with us. She has a wide experience in the institution, production, and realization of culture projects, artistic events, and documentary films. She is currently the president of Artists for Public Art 177. She works in the project as in the public art for 20 years. Noah has been working for her father, Dani Caravan. He is the creator of our memorial of the murdered Sinti and Roma of Europe on projects, publication, and exhibitions worldwide. We have also with us Tanja Vasic. She is psychologist, co-organizer of the Jubilee Congress and leading person of the MI Manjinska Inicijativa, a political movement in Serbia, unifying different communities in a common struggle for equality. Tanja is now live, she lives in Austria. And last but not least, one of the creator of the Romani World Roma Congress is Kako Gratan Paxton. He is co-initiator of the General Secretary of the First World Roma Congress, 1971, and co-initiator of the Jubilee World Roma Congress, 2021. Kako Gratan has been fighting for the right of Roma since 60 years. The aim of the Congress is to raise awareness for the most important topics concerning Romani communities all over the world. The fact that the memorial to the murdered Sinti and Roma of Europe is in danger is a traumatization fact to many of us. The state of Berlin and the German railway plan a new line of city train, and the tunnel should go directly under the memorial. The current proposal is present by the German state and the state of Berlin as a good solution. The earth should be frozen, so there is no need for a huge construction hole directly on the side of the memorial. But also this solution requires to cut down the trees around the memorial, and of course the construction site would affect the memorial in an unacceptable way. So also the way how the German state deals with the global Romani communities is scandalous. We are not invited to the table. The whole process is highly intransparent. This is why the Jubilee World Roma Congress demand the following. The global community of Romani people must be included into the discussion about the memorial. The discussion must become transparent. The state of Berlin and the German railway must adopt a solution which doesn't affect the memorial at all. Also, not the trees and bush around it, creating a national sound barrier between the busy streets and the memorial. Preserving is a place of commemoration and contemplation. The Congress support the open letter by the Bundes-Roma-Verband, Federal Association of Roma in Germany, to give the to give to our audience a better idea of the situation, we would like to show a short animation video.
Ich hab's nicht. Ich hab's nicht.
Maybe we can get it later. It's made by Roma Trial, and yeah, but hopefully we can see it later. Now we would like to give the space to our wonderful panelists who will explain the perspective on the current situation of the memorial. After that, we would like to have we are happy to have a discussion with all of you and of the demands of the Jubilee Congress. So we are very happy to open the floor with our sister Noah Caravan. Noah, shalom, thank you to be with us.
Shalom, I'm very happy to be with you as well, and thank you for inviting me. I think I would like to give a little bit of background. First of all, I'm representing my father, who is not here, unfortunately. He's not very well, but he's obviously sending his regards, and very happy that you are supporting the cause of the protection of the monument. The history of this monument, I'm just going to give a little bit of details. It was the first time that my father was approached was in the 90s, and he was extremely happy, as he puts it, because we are Jews, and many of the members of our family perished during the Nazi regime. So he felt very honored, and he felt also a very close relationship with the Sinti and the Roma, in the sense that he said, it's very possible that my ancestors were in the same camps as some of the Sinti and Roma, and were obviously treated in the same way. They were forced to wear a yellow star, and the Sinti and Roma were forced to wear the triangle. So he felt immediately this close relationship with the Sinti and Roma, and obviously felt very honored and touched to be invited to do this memorial. And he started thinking, my father, the way he works, first of all, he's never working on sculptures that he wants to put somewhere. He's working according to a commission. So once he gets the commission, he goes to see the location, and he wants to understand the background of what is the idea and why is this commission being made to him. And all his works are site specific, so they are made to a particular space, a particular location, and are born from the memory of that space. And when he was starting to think about this memorial, the first image that came into his mind was the flower, the wild flower, that he, as he explained this, when the Sinti and Roma were murdered, and for the same, in the same way where the Jews, basically all the victims of the Nazi regime, they were not buried. I mean, they had no tombstones, and the wildflowers basically served as their tombstones. So this was a way for him to represent this tragedy, but also, as in many of his other works of memorial, he's commemorating the past, but always looking for the future. So the flower is also a symbol of something, beautiful for a different future, a different way to look at the future. And he traveled to Berlin, was shown around the place, and found this beautiful glade in the middle of the Tiergarten. And immediately he felt that this could, what came to his mind is this glade in the middle of the forest, really at the center of the town, right by the Reichstag, very near to the Brandenburg gates. And at the same time, because it's surrounded by the trees and the bushes, there is a different atmosphere there, and he immediately felt this feeling of like meditation, like a place that invites you to self-reflect. So the two things came together: this idea of the flower with this particular place that was offered for him, that is protected from the noise and from the busy city by the trees and by the bushes. And the next challenge that he had was, okay, we have the flower, we've got the location. Now what was worrying him is that people will be passing, and you need to find a way to protect this flower. And of course, he didn't want to put a fence or anything like a structure that will actually change the meaning of the place. And then the idea of the water came, because obviously when there is the water is a barrier. You can't pass this barrier. So the pond, the basin, came into his imagination, and he had this idea to place the flower in the middle of the basin, have the water protecting the flower, and a lot of the other elements came afterwards. The water canal around the pond, the basin, with this poem around it, and the paving stones around with the names of the concentration camps, and other ideas that were demanded and asked by the Council of the Sinti and Roma, with the glass panels and so on and so on. I have to say that it was not an easy process. The work was commissioned by the Ministry of Culture, the German Ministry of Culture, but the people who were responsible of realizing it was the city of Berlin. And unfortunately, there were people who have no experience in realization of works of art. So it's people who are used more in building sites, of architectural, of buildings. And it was not an easy battle to. My father is very particular about the details. He said that, God is in the details and the perfection is in the details. And of course, when you build a building, it's completely different from work of art. And they had in mind of they made tenders and they were looking for the cheapest factories to do it, with not necessarily the right approach or the artistic approach. So it was a very, I would even use the word painful process. It was a very painful process, and health-wise, he actually had a small cardiac arrest on the site on one of the occasions when he got so upset with the way that the whole project was run. He had to compromise on certain aspects. His wish was for the basin to be deeper. His wish was for the basin, for the color to be dark black, so that it would look like endless. And but at the end of the day, there was also pressure of time, and the Sinti and Roma felt that a lot of the survivors were disappearing. And finally, what is important is that the work is there. It was inaugurated in 2012 in a very, very moving event. And as far as we know, the reactions that we get since then is that it has been a real success. First of all, the way that it was embraced by the Roma and the Sinti community. I think both communities really embraced it, and it really became, I liked it when you say, our memorial, and a lot of people use it, our memorial. It is your memorial. It is really was made for you. But also tourists and people who come to the place, and we hear a lot of people who, either they begin to know about it or they end there by complete chance. And what happened is that the flower, because the idea was that the flower should be changed every day. And the time that it's changed is at 1 o'clock, that the triangle in the middle of the basin goes down, and disappears basically, and then the flower is changed. There's a new flower that comes up, and the flower became like the heart of the project, and this ritual of going down and then coming up, it's like the heartbeat of the memorial. This is what gives the memorial its life. The fact that every day there is this ritual and people come to see it, and 7 days a week, 365 days a month, there is something that is happening like a heartbeat. And the other thing, obviously, that he was very happy about that his idea of this place becoming a real place for contemplation and meditation and self-reflection, it did become, also thanks to, as I explained earlier, the fact that it's in the middle of a kind of a forest, in the glade, surrounded by the trees and the bushes, who really act as a buffer for the noise and for the people. And the music of the violin that was composed by Romeo Franz. And when we got the first letter, actually it was Romeo Franz who left a message on my father's answer phone saying, "Danny, they want to ruin our memorial." And it was the first time that we heard about it. This was, I think, I can't even remember, maybe 6 months ago, not so long ago. And we were shocked to find out that that actually, discussions have been going on without my father even knowing or being part of it. We are trying to understand how this happened, because we've heard that there were like many options for the way of different options for design where it should pass. How come all the options were cancelled, and why only this option is the only option that for some reason was approved, and that for some reason is considered to be the best option? Why is this the best option? Why were all the other ones not good? We still haven't got a clear answer. And obviously we are against there are all kinds of ideas. There is a way now that the flower will not be harmed. They're talking about an alternative access to, because initially there was talk about the room underneath the memorial, where the flower is changed every day, that the access would be blocked for something between 3 months and 6 months, and this was obviously not acceptable at all. So there is an alternative maybe now, for an alternative route that will be built before they start the works, so that if at all the flower will be affected, it will be maybe for 24 hours. And now we're looking at the options of the trees. I mean, obviously we don't want any of the trees and any of the bushes to be touched. It's not simple, because my father's works are site specific. Then where does the work begin and where does it end? Where are the borders of the work? It's always very, very difficult. So some people say it's the basin. No, it's not the basin, because obviously you have the paving stones around it. You have the glass panels. Okay. So it's all this area up to the trees. No, because without the trees, the area, it can't. If you can see the road, if you can see people, if you can hear the noise, then it doesn't. So, okay, is it 2 lines of trees? Is it 4 lines of trees? Is it 5 lines of trees? Is it 5 meters? Is it 10 meters? This whole idea that it's a site-specific work that was done for this particular place. And if the place is changed, the whole idea of the work is changed and actually damaged in a way. So we're fighting, and we're happy that that your organizations are supporting us as well. And we hope that there will be other solutions that for the tramway, maybe not to pass there, maybe through other ways.
Thank you very much, Noah Caravan. it's so important that we have not just the feeling of sister and brotherhood, because how you explained exactly this is what we also feel from the beginning. Dani Caravan, the artist, didn't do it just as a job. It was also a pain that he felt from beginning to do it. He felt honored. And maybe I say it it's a little bit controversial if I say it's our memorial. Maybe I have to correct it and to say it's also your memorial, and it's also the memorial of the majority, because it means also something not only for us, not only for the minority themselves, it means also something for whole Europe. So it's a sign from the government, and it's also a sign from the country of the traitors. So that have to be also explained in a way. And for that, I would just want to say that for the German, for the European Sinti and Roma, this place of mourning and remembrance, and indeed the entry site, is sacrosanct, and all the more so because of people murdered by Germans and their helpers during the Second World War have no grave. Women, men, and children, because they were Sinti or Roma, were shot and burned in pits of, suffered in the gas chambers, and then murdered in crematoria. Their ashes were scattered in the surrounding area. For many German Sinti, the memorial is a symbolic tomb. Molno means also, this is something like a grave, an invulnerable place dedicated to the memory and honor of our death. It's appealing that this special signification of the memorial was pushed into the background in the original construction plans. And I would like to know what you or what your father felt if you got this call or this message on his phone. I mean, we have here in Germany also something like the right of the artist, and this is a really big right. So if we would go on the court or whatever, for sure your father will win, because this is the one thing to go to the judicative way and to judge and all this stuff. But of the other side, I mean, it's a bankrupt meaning of Germany. If they just start this thing, it's like to opening the box of Pandora. It's not just about the trees. I mean, no matter if it's one tree, how your father also say, no, if they will do this, I will climb up and close myself on them. So I will, this is a symbolic act. And in our demonstration that we did on the Roma Day parade, there was hundreds of people who would also say, if an old man would do this, we immediately will follow him, because this is also a sign to explain. This have to be something like a fixed point. And we got the promise of the Chancellor Merkel and of the government. This is also something like a sign to say sorry. Why now, even not 10 years later, it doesn't mean nothing anymore? So what means it for you, for somebody who also have also this pain of the history?
It's very difficult to understand. I agree with you completely. I mean, it's really it's unacceptable, the way that it's why was this chosen as the way for the tram. I mean, obviously from all points of view. I mean, you mentioned the copyright, intellectual property, and obviously there is this idea as well, but I'm not sure that this is the right way to deal with it. I mean, my father has in the past done, he's a fighter. He's 90 years old now, and he's a fighter. I mean, you're mentioning climbing on trees, so I can give you an example of many years ago. I think it was in the 60s. He did a work of art in a boat. It was called the Shalom boat, the peace boat. It was the first transit boat for Israel, for the state of Israel. And he painted a room in the boat, and very beautiful. We still have photos of it. And at a certain stage, the boat was supposed to be sold. And my father thought that, no, he does not want it to be sold. He did it for the Israeli people. He did it for this particular boat. And I said, no, the boat was going to be sold the way it is, with all the works of art and everything else that there is there. So he did go to see the Ministry of Transport, the Israeli Ministry of Transport. And he said, well, not climbing on trees, but he said, I will be in the port in Israel when you go and want to take this boat out of the port, and I will not let you take this boat out if my work is inside. So the guy said, okay, this man is crazy. And basically they took his work out. So yes, he's a fighter. But I think that in this case, it should not be on the intellectual property. It should be much more on the significance of this place. This place is the memorial for the Sinti and the Roma. I mean, can anybody imagine that that they would do something with the memorial for the Jews in Berlin? I mean, for me, I think it's probably unacceptable. So why? The Jews are untouchable and the Sinti and Roma are touchable. So it's very complicated. And to put it only on the level of intellectual property, I think it would be a mistake. In the same way that in the past, when he had all these problems of the work and it not being realized in the way that he wanted it to be realized, I mean, there was always a choice there. I mean, is he going to say, you are not respecting me as an artist, which was one way. And there was another way to say, you're not respecting this memorial. You're not respecting the people for whom this memorial is done. And he always went to mention the Sinti and the Roma. I mean, you're finally doing a memorial for the Sinti and Roma. You should do it in the best possible way. It's not about me being an artist and you not respecting me. It's about you not respecting the Sinti and the Roma. So there is always a possibility to go and do and play on the intellectual property. But as I said earlier, I think it's a mistake. And I think what you're doing in the sense of like saying this is our memorial and we should together protect this memorial. This is our memorial. And I'm saying, you know, our everybody, you know, in general. Hopefully there will be a solution, another solution. That's all I can say.
This is something that we also hope. This is something that we also kind of didn't dream, to be honest. I mean, the human fighters since the beginning of, I don't know now, 60, 70 years are waiting. Then in the 90s, we got the promise that this will be built. And then 20 years later, I mean, they also always played chess with us. So they founded other organization or something where they can also play ping pong with us, or we internal, because we didn't want the Z word in. So of course not. And then it tries. And also the survivors who was still there, that disappeared. So it wasn't, and this is also the pain that now, after even not 10 years, we have a discussion that also that the survivors maybe would never believe that this could happen here. But before we start, I would like to have the European perspective about this, and would also like to invite Tanja Vasic. And because, yeah, we say it's our memorial, but it's a European thing. So it's also something that belongs to all of us. And I would like to know what the others are thinking about this, if they heard what the German government would like to do.
Hello, Hamza. Hello, everybody. It's my pleasure here being with you. Even the topic is very difficult and sad. First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me and having me here. It's my honor. And I want to say as well that I'm very much honored to be a co-organizer of the Jubilee Congress, because I think it's very important to emphasize that is one very committed group of Roma activists worldwide. And of course, on the top with Gratan, who is really giving us an inspiration and energy many times during the discussions, and that was a long way to be here now. So I'm going back to the memorial. I think that I'm not seeing any Roma memorial as part of any of property of any state. I think that memorial that is victims of Roma and Sinti is something that should be deeply rooted in the Roma and Sinti culture, and it's in our. It should be our, and Roma and Sinti are the people living not only across Europe, they're living across world. And everything that somehow is not fair to Roma and Sinti all around the world is not fair to any particular person who is in that community. So I wouldn't say that memorial in Berlin has nothing to do with us Roma in Europe-wide or worldwide. We have to protect those memorials, not only that, because many other memorials were in danger in different places. And I think that we have to be aware that those memorials, and this particular one, they're very important for our history, for our tradition, for our stories that we are telling our children, for our future. And I do believe, really believe, that almost in every big city in Europe should be at least one memorial to the Roma and Sinti victims, because not in all wars in the past, Roma as people with no land has given their blood and lives to other nations and other countries, so where they were living at a certain time. And if we remember our history, then on top of all, the victims, the innocent victims of Roma during the Second World War. So any memorial that witnesses that particular part of history should never be in any sense in danger. And I would even go more, not even in question, because I think, as you said, not only that basin with the flower, but as well the trees. I see that as a little graveyard of all victims who has given their lives in the concentration camps, and not only in concentration camps, who died during the Second World War. And unfortunately, many Roma people, many victims and Sinti people were not even by name mentioned somewhere. So there are some lists, there is some evidence, but as well, many of them are not even in evidence-based. So I think it's just not fair that any state plays such games with Roma, and that they're very irresponsible. And I would say, on the other hand, that is expected for me, unfortunately. I think that all states are playing more or less, some is only the question to what extent they go, the same game. So as we know, Hamza, and there is no legitimate representatives of Roma communities. They never ask Roma. That's the reason why nobody was invited to the discussion in Berlin, because they are pretending, oh, you don't have any legitimate representatives, so with whom should we talk? Because then you have about 20 leaders, some NGOs, directors, etc., coming to us, and with whom should we discuss? And that's a very dirty and tricky game. And as well, on the other hand, they don't want to have them around the table. They want to have only Roma who are devoted to any current government. And on the other hand as well, unfortunately, the states in Europe, not only Germany, but Germany as well, they want to minimize their crimes against Roma. So because they were under the international pressure about Jewish people, and that is at least Jewish people got that possibility, that option, that they're acknowledged. I don't believe that the Germany or any other country after the Second World War happily acknowledged those victims, but they had to do it. And when you speak about Roma people, they just see them as a part of any other country, and they don't want even to put an effort in acknowledging Roma particular victims. So I think that what do we have to do, or what is our future, is that we have to be more proactive. We have to be more clear about our history and what belongs to us, and what is what we have to fight for, and what are our red lines in a historical, in a political, in a social sense. So I think that we have to take our lives and our history and our future in our hands, and to stop state and international institutions and governments to treat us as a socially disabled communities, because we are not. We are able to be in charge and to be responsible for our issues, and they have to discuss with us. And I think that we have to be more, don't misunderstand the word aggressive, but we have to be more proactive. We have to be more clear about it. And it's very important, at least once, that all international Roma community stands for this memorial and say no. Not only the Roma people in Germany, and I do fully agree with Ms. Caravan saying it's just not, and yes, it is important to as well discuss on intellectual and that legislation, but property legislation, but more about it, they have at once to acknowledge Roma community as it is existing, because we had a very similar situation in Serbia. You know about it in Belgrade. It's happening all over the place. And I think that we have at least to organize ourselves and to say stop, and to write not only petitions, because the petition is just a signature. It is important, it's showing but I think that we have at least to send thousands of letters, thousands of demands to the city of Berlin and say no, from all around the place, from Belgrade, from Tirana, from Brazil, from London, from France, from Sevilla, from whatever the place, and even the villages where the Roma are living. I think that we are obliged, we have to be responsible to our history and to our victims. And once we as a Roma start to acknowledge and recognize the victims that has happened in Second World War, and that are still happening in many countries worldwide, and there is still fascism, unfortunately, and very strong racism, we have to acknowledge those victims, and we have to say stop. We are here, and we are going to fight for every single victim, and for every single life, and for every single tree in our memorial, even the leaf, because it belongs to us. And I think that's a very important message we have to give them.
Thank you a lot, Tanya. Yeah, I think you said very carefully about, yeah, don't misunderstand us with the word aggressive. Maybe we have to explain that we never did a war, or we don't have a country, so we can't do a war to fight against something. But all our people was in different countries and fights for their countries and died. Also, the German minority was so often with in the Nazi suit directly in the gas chambers. So this is something that we have also to recognize for ourselves. Maybe aggressive, I don't know, we have to be proactive for sure. We have to be more radical for sure. But we have also to be honest for sure. If we are honest, then we can maybe angry. We become angry because this means stop. It's 2021. Yeah, we have a pandemic worldwide. But on the other side, we know who is treated badly. So, of course, our people, especially in East Europe. But this monument, this symbol, is also a symbol for the world. And if we don't, and this is also because we got also here some comments on the chat, and also this is an invitation to all our viewers. Please, you are invited to comment and also to share your thoughts or wishes or whatever with us. There is something that is written. And there are persons who are here also like asylum seekers in the 90s and until 2000 who start to fight for this memorial, and it was never recognized, and these people also lost their families, not because they don't have graves, because also people from East Europe was killed by the Nazis. This is something that people maybe don't know. They think always just the German Nazis killed us. No, there are a lot of collaborations from Serbian fascists. So there was always other people who was also in a way collaborating with them. And we, how Tanya say, we are here, and we have also to find a way of allies. So this is also maybe again a question to our sister Noor, how we can become more, because that it feels also in a way good, but also strange, because I don't like to make something like
To compare.
But you say it. Would the German government even think about to do this with the memorial of the murdered Jews? I don't think so. But this is also something that it's not only politics, it's also something like it has a historical background. Why? So what would you, Noah, give us as an idea, or what do you think? What is as a next step with positive radicalization without aggressivity, but aggressivity in a positive way, without violence? This is what we want to be clear. Yeah.
Well, I think what Tanya said about, people from all over Europe, or maybe all over the world, it doesn't necessarily have to be Europe. I mean, I think you have people probably in Canada and United States and other places. I think, if you get people to send letters and or maybe a petition signed by, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people, not necessarily only Roma and Sinti, also other people who support your cause, and just show that there is a strong movement and a strong a very large group of people from all over the world who support this cause and who will not do not agree to that for this memorial and for you as people to be treated in this way. I think it should not be just this organization or that organization. It should be really kind of like, I'm being maybe a bit too ambitious here, but it should be a world movement. It should be, people from all over the world joining forces together and saying, sorry, this is our memorial and we do not want it to be touched, because this is a memory of something horrible that happened, and there's no way that it can be switched on and off whenever you want it to be switched on and off. It's there, and it should be preserved and kept and cherished and honored in every possible way. There shouldn't even be a discussion about it.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, we got the first step was if we heard. I mean, I had the possibility to be in the first meeting, but it was an invitation from the Foundation Memorial, where I also took part on, and there was the guys from the German railway. I mean, we have also not to forget, this German railway have also not only a good history. So I don't want to mention it too much, but I would say the half of the German industry is still in the hand of this historic background. So it's not only the German railway, but especially the German railway have an obligation. And then we had this discussion with them. And there was something like, yeah, but the Berlin population need this S-Bahn. I said, yeah, but we have so much of S-Bahn. I mean, to be honest, why you did it not in the 90s? So the tunnel was in a way prepared. Why you do it now? Yeah, because now we have the money or whatever. So, but on the other side, they say money was never something like a discussion now, because if it would be more expensive, of course it would be more expensive if they have to find the other solution. But if there is a political will, of course there is a solution. And they say at the end, and this is something what makes me also thinking about, money is not the problem. So if it costs more, of course they will find a solution. So money can't be the problem. So the other thing was, if the youngsters, for example, realized it, because it became public, immediately, also it means also mostly it have to come from the minority themselves. So there is the petition from the Sinti Roma Pride, the memorial have to stay. There was a petition. To be honest, I like the idea of that the people have to write, but this is paper. To be honest, I can put paper in the corner and then it's done. So the Sinti Roma Pride did immediately this petition, and there was some thousands of people who signed it. But still, we don't have 10,000 of signs. I mean, I love pets also, but if there is something with pets, immediately we get 200, 300,000 of signs immediately. So this is also a sign of our whole majority. Well, why not with us? So the second thing was with the Bundes-Roma-Verband. They did also this kind of press release. The memorial remains by any means necessary. So there are a lot of people, single persons who are writing things, but also organizations who show their solidarity. To be honest, I mean, it's a good thing, but I don't believe in this just signing. I like the action. I like the idea of your father, because also the situation was once so badly that people who was deported and they tried to occupy the memorial. I mean, that was the last hope that they had. And they was catched by because of course this is a memorial and this is not the place for political action. Sorry, but a memorial is a political place also. So 50 years or 40 years before, there was also people who did a hunger strike in Dachau or in other concentration camps. And a concentration camp is also not a political place. So where start the political action, where end it? So this is also maybe a question to you, Noah. Would you think it's a performance in a way, but if all the people would kind of try to save the memorial with their own body, as your father would do, is this something like a simple way? But of course, sometimes pictures speaks more than 1,000 words. This is why I say a petition is nice, but a picture is sometimes stronger. And this is not that I'm, again, please don't misunderstand me, but I don't want to call for aggression or for violence. But one thing I don't want to forget, if the situation happened in the States and there was again a situation with our Black sisters and brothers, and after that we saw pictures, because we saw a lot of pictures, but after that a police station burned. That was a symbol. Not that I want to call the people to make some strange actions, but that was a picture that everybody, and also the police officer or the mayor said, no, let them do. Why? Because they had something like they have to put the angriness out. It's not the best way. I'm against it. But this picture goes around the world. So sometimes, how also Tanya said, we have to become also aware of just giving the other side, like Jesus, to clap us, maybe after hundreds of years, it doesn't bring us somewhere. what would you say, Noah, to this?
It's a very difficult question for me to answer on the spot, but as you were talking, I had an idea, and maybe it's a crazy idea, but I mentioned earlier, because I understand, I mean, a petition is a piece of paper and you want to see, you know, action. I'm a peace activist. I'm against anything aggressive. So, you know, I wouldn't want in any way to kind of like, you know, support any of this action. But I was thinking, you know, because the flower is, as I said before, is the heart of the project. Maybe they could be some kind of permanent or, you know, once a week, once every few days, I don't know, just people standing near the memorial with wildflowers in their hands and giving it out to people. And to each people that you give the flower, you explain why you were there. So it's not only the people of your community that know about it, it's every person that goes by the memorial on the main Siemensweg. He gets a flower, he or she gets a flower, and with the flower there is a message. Look, this memorial is at the moment in danger. Please support us with maybe the address of this petition or whatever. But, you know, I think it has to be something peaceful. And suddenly it came to my mind, you know, the flower is the memorial is the flower. So use the flowers.
Thank you. I think this is of course a better way, but the thing was just to recognize that, I don't know if it was Minnesota or whatever, but George Floyd said, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. But the police didn't want to hear it. And then a police station burned. So there was a sign of, hey, don't go over this border, but they did it. And then that was the result. But again, sorry for this stupid idea. I don't want that some houses or whatever will burn. The idea of flower is the peace way, but we tried so often on this peace way, on the way of peace. But what is the result? I mean, if people are walking through the Simsonweg and they will get a flower, this is nice. This is a nice action, and these people will be for sure on our side. But of the other side, the people, the neighbors in very near to the memorial is the Bundestag. They decide to say, no. This railway can't be in too near to us. Of course not. But some of the, we say Ältestenrat, so the people who are also in the commission, in the commission of the foundation memorial, they immediately explained, I mean, they are vice president of the Bundestag, two of the who are also supporters of the Sinti and Roma issues, but they say very clearly, we are here not as vice presidents. We are here just as members of the curatorium. But they think the idea of this age 12 is a great solution. And maybe you also heard, and I don't want to go too deep in the internal problems, but there is an organization also from the minority who start to argue with, maybe, there are some trees who have to be fallen, but maybe this is the result. Maybe, or there can't be another result. Tanya.
Hamza, I just want to come back to some sentences of you, and no, I think they're very important and they're critical. You're talking about the movement, the Black Lives Matter and another movement. And I think that what, unfortunately, Roma people did not do until now, they didn't learn from those movements. We have to work on solidarity. Solidarity doesn't mean that just people should be solidary with us. We have to be as well, when something is happening, solidary to another issues, and we have to be clear in our heads, in our minds, what are the issues that we can stand for. Definitely, there are any anti-racist movements we can freely be with. or anti-fascist movements, we should, by our history, be involved in those movements. We have to be in any sort of ecology movements for the green future, or for any human rights movements. So definitely we have to be aware, where do we belong as a minority who were tortured through the centuries. Because I just found the other day the data, we are living in Serbia from 14th century. So 7 centuries we are there and tortured. And in many other countries in Europe is as well the same number of centuries, not years. So we have at first of all to know who we are, and we have to know where do we belong. Definitely Roma people are pacifists. That's not for discussion at all, because we were behaving like that through our history. So we don't have to make a big fuss on that. But it's not about being pacifist. It's about being clear. What are your red lines? And to what extent you will say, okay, I will live with this, or to what extent I will say, no, that certainly I will not accept. And where is that limit? Where is that border? It's not clear within the Roma community. So at least we have to work on that. And I think that this, what is happening to this memorial, is giving us an opportunity worldwide to all Roma people to become mature enough as a citizens of the world, and to say, no, stop. You have to look back and to see what has been done in the history just 70 years ago to us. And you have to be aware, and you have to see it every day, because you did it to us. And these majorities, they have to be clear about what was done to one innocent people, to one innocent folk in Europe. And if we have to give flowers, yes, we'll give flowers. If we have to send 500 flowers to Angela Merkel, we can send a bouquet of 500 flowers to Angela Merkel, and maybe to European Union, and maybe to Ursula von Leyen, and maybe to all people. Maybe make them aware. At least we can draw. Maybe we cannot send 500,000 people, but we can draw 500 flowers and send to people. And there are artists who can be and who are solidar with us, and they can work with us and say, no, these are the lines. This is how was the name of that? You know, the fence on the concentration camp. So you make one picture of flowers, and then you make that thing around. They have to be aware.
The barbed wire.
They have to be aware. Sorry?
You mean the barbed wire?
Yes. So they have to be clear that we have our red lines, and that we are not quiet as we were, and that we died peacefully and quietly in many concentration camps and in the wars. We have to stand up for our rights. And I think that I just read the comment, and that woman is definitely right. We have to be united and solidary worldwide, because there are Roma living in Brazil, there are Roma living in every country, in Russia, even in China. There are, I found a document that there is about more than 10,000 Roma living in China. So we have to unite, we have to work on our issues together. And now we have all these Facebooks, and instead of writing nonsenses about, I don't know who is doing what, at least we can use the social networks for social networking and make something out of that. Because I think that it's not about burning anything, but if we don't burn out, then we are going to burn up. And is that our future? So we have to really think about how we can approach. And I think definitely, Hamza, that Germany is part of European Union and is a country that very much gives and expect from European Union. So it's one very close relationship to Brussels. Maybe we should even go to Brussels, write to Brussels, write to United Nations, write to everybody. It's not just Berlin issue. And when we approach that coordinated approach, that is one very, because we were never coordinated as well. So we have wants to be coordinated and very good organized, and we can use these computers and social networks at least to work in that direction. And then once we know how to do it, then we have know-how for any other memorial and that is definitely going to happen. This is just, I always think that when something like that is happening, that some state, some government is against teasing us to see to what extent they can go for. Because exactly they know with whom they should not even play a game, and they know that they can do it with us.
Of course.
So we have to stand up for, we have to say no, and we have to send a clear message. And how we are going to do it is, yeah, we have to write to everybody. I don't know, you have some addresses, I have, some other people have, so we should be functional and speak about it and send and make a contact. Because
we even started. The thing was at the beginning, and also for this I was personally criticized. Why, Hamza, you was in the first meeting, why you did make it public? And the thing was, okay, let first the guys who are important in the high level, let them speak, and maybe they will find a solution, and then we are all okay with it. But of course they didn't want to find a solution, and now we are trying to think about, okay, the one thing is writing letters to the Berlin Senate, to Angela Merkel. The idea with the flowers, I like it very much, because it's the peaceful way. There was the sending flowers also to the government, and also there is something like think that is not even finished. Maybe this is just kind of the beginning of discussions, and we have here some comments from our viewers. Maybe a dialogue with them could make them more sensitive for the subject, but that in the case they are open for a direct dialogue. This is it. So who we want to address, how. The thing is also that they choose the people who they want to speak with. And maybe we are not the right ones who they want to speak with. I mean, for sure they have to speak with your father, Noah. And for sure he is totally clear in his way in what he wants to do. And I would also say this is just the beginning of kind of a discussion, but also internal, we, as you maybe know, also we in our minority are not totally clear. So there is an organization who is an official one, who is kind of the direct, I don't want to mention names, but maybe you know them. They say it's in a way okay. So I don't know if this is okay. I mean, you as somebody who is involved, but from your, viewer perspective, what would you say about this? That also there are internal discussions. And I thought, or I wished, in this case, we are equal. And we are in one, I mean, we speak with one voice. Even in this case, not. Is this normal?
Hamza, if may I just say a sentence and then I will give floor to Noah. It's very much happening, and you know that very much, and that's what I said. The governments, they know who are the Roma devoted to them. So there is no discussion about it, because there are some people within community who are betrayers. And that's clear. There's no other nice words to say that somebody is a bad guy. So a bad guy is a bad guy. You can't say, yeah, it could be even your blood, but it's a bad guy. So there's nothing to discuss about it. and we have to look straight in front of us what is happening. So we have to be clear that we are aware of that tricky games, because this, what is happening to the memorial in Berlin, is exactly what Gage institutions are doing to Roma community. That's the reason why you have in Brussels other people sitting in a Roma department. That's the reason why we have everywhere other people being involved in the big Roma programs and projects, because we are not able, we are just Roma, and if you're Roma and educated, you are like an alien. Everybody's looking at you like, who? Oh my God. It's even more fantastic. It's even more unacceptable that you are unexpected, that even if you're green, completely green. So it's unbelievable. So that's the reason why and you're always compared, oh, he's Roma, he's a normal guy. So what does it mean? And that is the outcome with that memorial, is outcome of that policy and those standpoints, because they think, Deutsche Bahn, they know exactly that they were transporting people to Auschwitz and to Dachau, etc., etc. And they know exactly, we don't want them on top of us, because we always have to think of that, of our history. We don't want to be aware, because, you know, here I'm living in Austria, my children are going here in school. They never mention Hitler. They just mention, you know, if you have some history teacher who wants to talk about it, but he's missing from the books. So they're talking about it only when they have to talk about it. They don't freely and voluntarily and happily talk about their history, because they know what they've done. And they have to be aware of that, what is done. I don't care. I don't care, it's done. And they have to face it, and we have to make them clear. And those Roma who are betrayers, who are cooperating, who are capos in the modern Auschwitz, we have to mark them and to say, look, you're not even in question. We don't want to discuss with you, because you're not representing Roma people. You're representing yourself in a next concentration camp. So we have to be clear about it, and that is about our movement. And those are the lines, and that is what we have to know about ourselves. With whom we want to be friends and with whom we don't want to be friends. With whom we can be solidar, with whom we can never be solidar. And then when we know those things, we have to be as well when something is happening. So when the Black Lives Matter is happening in Berlin, you need at least 500 Roma to come and support them, because then, you see, now we support them. That's how it works, solidarity. And not just sitting at home and saying, great, on Facebook, well done. Yes, that's true. And today was a big protest in Belgrade, in Serbia, some ecological protest. You don't see any Roma organization supporting that. It's about trees and air and water, etc., etc. And you don't have anybody. When some girls were in trouble in Serbia, no Roma organization stand for and say, look, guys, what are you doing? When it was attack on the NGOs in Serbia, again, no Roma NGO wrote any demand. You know, it's strange. I'm just giving the examples because I know them particularly, but I do believe that is very much the same in Berlin, in however, whatever, wherever. And that is why it's happening to us.
I hope it will change. I mean, we had this Roma Day parade, and there was a lot of people who was really in solidarity with us from other marginalized groups. But it was the first time that also they realized it's not about that they also have problems with their own memorials, or they even don't have it, or the colonialization is also in Germany was not also clarified in the history. And still now we have a lot of doubts and problems with this. But you're right. This is something we have to start also to think about our, we say in German, über den Tellerrand, so through other things. But I think the one step is done, and I hope the other step can be also be done very quick. Noah, you would like to say something about, you was in a way.
No, I mean, it's there is a Jewish joke that says that when you have two Jews in a room, you have three different opinions. So I think that, this is part of the problem. I mean, also now in the last elections in Israel, one of the reasons that the left lost is that, there's not one big left parties. So that the left parties are getting each one a small number of votes, which is not enough to be a majority. I don't know, what Tanya is saying, I support her completely. I mean, the stronger you are and the stronger you are and the more united you are, obviously, the stronger your voice will be heard. Not that we are very good at it. I mean, as Jews, I think we're not very good at it as well. I mean, yes, we did manage to get more recognition after the Second World War and so on, but still, I think the Jews are very divided into different sections, and the religious and the Orthodox and the non-religious and so on and so on. And obviously, it's a weakness. It's a weakness. We are in discussions with the city of Berlin. We are in discussions with people. I mean, there is a dialogue, and as you said, our standpoint is very, very clear. But of course, the more support we get from the Roma organizations and the Sinti organizations, then I think the more our point of view will the stronger our point of view will be. And we need this support. I think that this is our mission. This is really something that we should all be working on together. And as far as the European Parliament is concerned, I mean, I mentioned Romeo Franz earlier, and yes, he's a member of the Parliament, and I know that he's. Again, I don't know all the details, and I don't want to get into it because, it's too complicated, but I know that he is very active and that he's doing a lot also in support, and his position in the European Parliament is very strong and powerful, and should obviously should be, taking into consideration, and you should take advantage of this. And I think he's completely in support of the monument, of your point of view, of our point of view.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think this is also a good bridge to open this Zoom session now, because supporters, we have also supporters in the Zoom, and maybe there are also people who would like to join us in this discussion, or just want to comment on Facebook. Here is a comment. Sorry, but I think this is unfair to call the Zentralrat, who tries to find a solution in his way, betrayers and the capos in the modern Auschwitz that won't help to dialogue either. And the other one was, a Sinti friend told me Sinti and Roma have not the same lobby as the Jews. The reason to accept? Never. Thank you, Noah, to be here. I do not accept Deutsche Bahn can decide the way, and not the Sinti and Roma. It is not respect for the murdered people. We have to be active against the Deutsche Bahn plans. Never give up. All right. I would just say nobody mentioned some names, but there is from somebody who say the name of some organizations, but we didn't mention somebody, so I don't know who the people are mentioned. So if there are more comments, you're also free to write. Otherwise, I would just say we make now a closing round. I don't know if Kako Gratan will join us again, because he is just jumping to New York because he have a parallel session, and I hope he will come also back. But I will try to see if there is also coming again. Tanya, can you explain us what you mean with the capos, maybe for the viewers, and to make it in the closed session?
Yes. Well, in the past, the capos were the people representative, the people who were in camp, and they were appointed from the Nazis. So for example, there were Roma or Jewish or other people, other capos who were looking after the people within camp. So they were sometimes even more cruel than the Nazis themselves, because they wanted to protect them, their lives or their family lives. So you can read about it by Viktor Frankl. There is a very good book, Why You Didn't Commit a Suicide. It's a book name. So you can learn more about capos. But when I'm saying about capos today, I'm exactly meaning on the people who are Roma people or Sinti people, but not devoted, not being patriots to their community, but actually being devoted to their interests, and the majority government ruling whatever the systems or whatever the governments are. So these people are unfortunately making more damage to Roma movement, and we have a lot of them, unfortunately, everywhere. We have them in Serbia, we have them in Germany, we have them everywhere, because there are people who are not understanding the role and importance of that, what they are doing. They just see that as a way to earn the money or to earn the status, and they're doing that for their particular interest. And when I'm saying capos, I'm thinking that they're in a way big betrayers of our community. And I think that we have once to speak open and clearly, who are they, what is the damage they did, and we have to face them. I'm not afraid of talking to these people directly, because I think that they have to be aware and to become aware that they're not welcome, that their behavior is not welcome. So we have to be clear about it, because I think that institutions are abusing exactly those linkages and they're picking them and knowing exactly who is doing what and with whom they can manipulate. And the Roma who is accepting manipulation as a way of being and working is very welcome in every institution, not only in Europe, but in the world, I think. So I think, and of course, those people, they try to cover their that what they are doing by doing it sometimes something good, but that's not good enough. That's not acceptable, and they have to be clear about it. And that is what we are doing in Minority Initiative. We try to be clear about those things, those people, those linkages, those issues, because we have to face them.
Thank you for your clear and direct answer, dear Tanya. Thank you.
Thank you.
No. Your closing statement. What do you wish? What do you think could be the next steps? I mean, we discussed it. The idea with the flowers could be something what I really like. The idea with the letters. I mean, we have here petitions from the Bundes-Roma-Verband where they also clear say there's a press release with the memorial remains by any means necessary. There are also other groups like the Sinti Roma Pride who do the petition with the memorial has to stay, das Denkmal bleibt. And there is also other groups who also do the alliance, and we have also to follow them, and we have to try to get kind of a alliance of all of us together, because it depends to us what we can do as next step. And I also would like give you some last words for what you or what your father would make as next, how we can support you, or what will be the next steps that we can do together.
I think what you concluded, you summarized it very well. I think, there's not much, I don't think there's much more than I can add. I'm happy to stay in touch and continue to inform you about, what is going on in part of our talks with the various parties that are involved. And I'm very happy for you to continue to update us about what you are planning to do and to see if we can help in any way.
Kako Graton is still in New York. I don't know if he will come in the next minutes back, but I just want to say thank you that you spent your time with us, that you discussed with us, that you also give your thoughts about a very important aim, because the memorial belongs to all of us, and the idea of to make it in a worldwide petition calls also to make it in action. So I think also our working group and also the Jubilee Congress, and we have to invite more people to think about what is important and to raise awareness about the crimes and the injustice and the discrimination, prejudice against us, against the minority, against Sinti and Roma, not only in the past, but also what happened in the future or nowadays. And protecting the memorial can be a unifying campaign for Roma rights led by Roma, and be also but in alliance with other minorities. And for all the others, you are more than welcome and invited to be part of our movement yesterday, today, and tomorrow, because the fight have to be continued. So thank you to you all. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you to Tanya Vasic and to Noah Caravan for this beautiful, very important discussion. I hope to see you soon. As a small commercial break at 7 o'clock, we have live concert from amazing group of musicians, and also they are mixed Jewish, Sinti, Roma, whatever. So they call themselves Radio Django, and it's an amazing combo. So for all of the people who would like to join this music, just stay tuned at 7 o'clock from romanistan.com. So be with us. All the best. Take care. I hope to see you soon. Sapola Chipa Tumenge. All the best.